Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Laura Barat, a tropical Vedic astrologer, and today's video is about predicting with the part of fortune and Sahams, or Sahams are Arabic parts in Western astrology. And the most popular Saham or Arabic part is the part of fortune in Western astrology. And I'm going to talk about that one mainly today. It's really fun to look at and predict with, especially in the Varshafal or solar return chart. So the way you calculate it, it's a little different than they calculate it, I think, in the Western astrology system. All it is if you were born during the day, that means if the sun is between the 7th house cusp and the 1st house cusp, meaning if it's in houses 7 through 12 up until the Ascendant, then meaning it's the day, the sun has risen over the horizon and then it sets. So if you were born during the day, the way you calculate it is you take the degree of the moon and you subtract the degree of the sun, and then you add the ascendant. Okay? So you take the degree of the moon, you subtract the degree of the sun, then you add the ascendant. And this is all, in the 360 scheme. If the degree of the moon is less than the degree of the sun, then you add 360. And then, you do it that way. And then you just expunge 360 if you get a number higher than 360 when you add the ascendant as well. So that should give you the actual sign and the degree in the sign where the Punya or Auspicious Saham resides. And you can do this in your birth chart and the Varshafal or solar return chart. And what that is the part of fortune, or the Auspicious Saham, as they call it, is where you find your fortune during that year and where the good things come during that year. So it's very important in the Varshafal or solar return. And it's also important in the birth chart. You can look for your Punya Saham or the part of fortune, and any planets it's conjoined and its house position. And when I talk about it or its house position, I'm talking about equal sign, equal house, and the house cusp that it's closest to. Okay? So, for example, if you have, you can also use the outer planets for this. If you have the Punya Saham or the part of fortune in the 7th house, then your fortune comes from your partner, and that's not just wealth, but it's also self-transformation, self-awareness, self-realization, all of the good things, all of the good luck that comes from your partner, and also businesses, because the 7th house rules business. And it can also come from foreign countries, because the 7th house rules foreign countries and foreigners, and living in foreign countries, not traveling there, but living there. Then let's say your Punya Saham is conjoined Pluto. Then your good fortune will come from a lot of self-transformation, going through a lot of self-transformations, and also going through experiences where major changes in your life. Major changes where you you move somewhere else, you get a different job, you even change your name, all kind of Plutonian things, right? Also mysteries and kind of occult sort of things, especially things that you have to figure out and yourself without any help. All those things that Pluto rules, okay? If you have the Punya Saham conjoined Jupiter, your fortune will come from your guru or your spiritual teacher or religion or just your spiritual path in general. It will come from books, because Jupiter rules books. It will come from higher education, universities, and things of that nature, philosophy. So that's where your fortune would come from. Now, if your Punya Saham is conjoins Saturn, then your fortune comes from people, your subordinates, people that you are below you, people that work for you, like your assistants or anybody that does a job for you, like that's manual labor. Your fortune will come from those types of people. That's what Saturn rules. He rules Sudras. Um, and so you will have a lot of luck with those types of people. And then Saturn is hard work and focus and being alone. A lot of your fortune will come from being alone. And because Saturn is solitude, and you'll have a lot of realizations that way, and it's actually good for you to be alone. And you can work and focus much more effectively. Okay? So those are some examples. You can kind of get the feel for that Punya Saham, and this is in your birth chart, and it's also in the solar return chart. If you see the Punya Saham conjoined a planet, that planet's going to influence your good fortune during the year. And then if it comes from a house, you also see the house position. In my system, it's the equal sign, equal house, the Vedic system, but also if there's a house cusp in that sign, you want to look at that house cusp as well, conjoined the Punya Saham. So for example, if you have your Punya Saham in the 6th house, which is considered a difficult house, it's one of the Dushtana houses, then your good fortune will come from your taking care of your health, because that Saham rules health, or that house rules health. And then also the 6th house rules debt, so paying off debt will bring a lot of good fortune. If it's in the 8th house, a lot of your fortune will come from your partner's resources or your partner's wealth. It will come from mysteries. It will come from the occult. It will come from astrology, and those types of things. If it's in the 12th house, your fortune will come from actually spending money on things. You will get some good fortune in that regard. If it's in the 12th house, also getting away from the world, getting away from worldly concerns, relaxing your body. Also your dreams, your good fortune will come from your dreams if it's in the 12th house. So that's how it works when the Punya Saham is in a house. Now, how much good fortune that you actually get is based on the strength of the ruler of that house, or the sign that the Punya Saham falls in. So if it's in Virgo, you want to look for the strength of Mercury. If it's in Taurus, you want to look for the strength of Venus. How strong it is, if it's in good dignity, if it has good aspects, you're going to see how much good fortune you actually will get from its position during the year. Okay. Oh, and I forgot to mention, if you're born at night, and this is when the sun is between the Ascendant and the 7th house cusp, that's if you're born at night, then you take the position of the sun, the degree of the sun, in the 360 degree scheme. So if you have your sun at 3 degrees Taurus, it's going to be 33 degrees. Okay. And so the moon will probably be, if it's beyond that, the moon will be a higher number. So you add 360 to the sun's degree. Okay. And then you subtract the position of the moon, and then you add the ascendant. And if that number is above 360, just subtract 360. And then you'll find the sign and the degree of that sign for the Punya Saham. Okay. If you were born at night. So, let's see, what was I going to say? Okay, so that's where you find your auspiciousness coming to you for the year, the planet, the sign, or the house. If it isn't joined a planet, just look at the house position and the strength of that Saham Lord, or the strength of the Lord that rules the part of fortune. And okay, and then okay, we covered the houses, and yeah, you want to look in like I said, the part of fortune in the birth chart to see the general life of where your good fortune is coming from. Yeah, I think that's it. I'm going to show you I'm going to give you some examples of how this works. Two examples. One is Halle Berry for the year that she won the Academy Award, the first Oscar. And then I'm going to show you Alex Honnold. If you don't know who that is, he's a free solo climber, meaning he climbs cliff faces with no ropes. He just uses his body to climb up these cliff faces, and it's quite an amazing athletic feat. I mean, it's just incredible what this guy has accomplished. And they made a movie about it, and it came out this year. So we're going to look at two examples of that in the Punya Saham. Okay, so stay tuned. Thank you. Okay, so this is Halle Berry's chart, and this is her birth chart right here. And I have it in the Varshafal screen at age 0. So this is her natal chart. And her over down here, if we want to see the Sahams, we'll just go to Sahams, click on it. And the very first Saham is the Punya or Auspicious Saham. And her Saham is in Cancer in her birth chart at 8 degrees or almost 9 degrees of Cancer. So let's look at Cancer. She has her Saham conjoin 3 planets. So she's going to get quite a lot of fortune from a lot of different places, okay? And her Saham is also conjoined the 3rd and 4th house cusp. And it's in the 3rd sign from the Ascendant. So the 3rd house is the house of acting, okay? It's the house of performing arts. Venus is the planet of entertainment. And Venus is the planet of entertainment. And then also the 4th house is the house of real estate and the home. And Mars is the planet of real estate. So she's going to be getting some fortune from those two things as well. Also, she has Jupiter in Cancer exalted. So the Jupiter is going to give her a lot of fortune as well. And Jupiter is the husband, children, and what else is it? Higher knowledge, spirituality, higher learning, all of those things. Okay. And she's got quite a lot of fortune in her life. Also, Jupiter is wealth. A lot of her fortune is coming from her wealth, and that gives her a lot of happiness. So that's Halle Berry, generally speaking. This is her chart, her natal chart. So this will be effective throughout her life. Okay, so let's go to age 35. This is the year Halle won the Academy Award for her performance in the film Monster Ball. And I think she was actually the first Black woman to win an Academy Award. So it was a huge deal. And so here, let's look at the Sahams. The Punya Saham is at the very top. So it's the part of fortune, and it's in Leo at 12 degrees. This is, and she's got an extremely strong sun in Leo in the 11th house. And the 11th house is the house of awards. It's the awards we win. And it also happens to be her year lord, and it's also extremely strong with 13 points down here. I explain all of this in my course, in my Varshafal course. But her fortune for the year is coming from awards and from recognition by her peers. So that really shows up in her chart here for age 35. Okay? And then let's go to Alex Honnold. Okay. If you don't know who this is, this is his name up here, Alex Honnold. He is... I already explained he's a climber. He's a free solo climber, and they just came out with a movie during his after his birthday. He's 33 now, and so it's all during this year. And it's a movie of him climbing the cliff El Capitan in Yosemite National Park in California. Quite an amazing feat. Okay. So let's see where his Sahams are for the year, for this year, or his Punya Saham. His Punya Saham is in Aries at 7 degrees. So Aries, that's also in the 11th house. And the 11th house is also the house of recognition by your peers. And the 10th and 11th house rules fame. And this is the year he got famous. Because fame is actually a product of your power and your the influence you have in the world, which is the 10th house. And you actually get fame from that. That's something that you acquire from being, you know, the king. That's what they call the 10th house, or your profession, your career. So quite obvious there that the recognition that he's getting, that's where his fortune is coming from. Okay, and then the ruler. Let's check out the ruler of Aries is in Capricorn, exalted and retrograde. So a pretty powerful Mars. Okay, an extremely powerful Mars, and this is in the 8th house of other people's money. Okay, the public's money. So and sponsors. The 8th house rules sponsors. So that's what he is getting, you know, obviously from this year. Also, the 8th house is our longevity, and he's got a pretty. What he is doing is so risky. I don't think there's anything riskier except that wingsuit sport where you jump out of a helicopter with a wingsuit on, but it's extremely powerful Mars, and a lot of life force. That's what that represents, a lot of life force, and that's what he did. You know, he climbed that cliff of El Capitan. So yeah, that is pretty powerful. Aries also, just incidentally, Aries rules rocky places. Aries rules rocky mountains and stuff like that. So, and so does Leo. Leo rules mountains as well. And Virgo rules foothills, but yeah, that's where his fortune was coming from, that rocky mountain that he climbed, or the cliff face, really. So let's look at his Punya Saham for his in general, for his general chart. So we'll go to age 0, and his Punya Saham is in Gemini at 21 degrees. Gemini is the 12th house, or the 12th sign from the Ascendant. The 12th house cusp is actually here, but the 12th sign is here. So we consider that to be the 12th house. And the 12th house is getting away from the world, getting away from worldly concerns. And you could say climbing a cliff by yourself with no ropes is getting away from it all. So that actually really makes sense. And then also the 12th house is, you know, being frugal and not, you know, loss. It's actually getting rid of all of our possessions. You know, the 12th house rules aesthetics. And they actually made a movie, or a part of the movie, about this guy, Alex Honnold, is that he lives in his van. And he just bought a house this year, but he lived in a van for years and just traveled around in his van climbing these cliff faces and these mountains in the sandstone in southern Utah. So that's where his fortune comes from, is being frugal and having loss in his life, but also getting away from the world and worldly concerns. Okay? So that's pretty interesting, and yeah, those are my examples for the Punya Saham. I'll be talking or discussing some other Sahams, like the Guru Saham and the Wisdom Saham, and how they kind of intertie in with the Punya Saham to make a really very fortunate year for a person. And again, all of this is taught in my course on my website at laurabaradastrologer.com. Okay, thank you very much for tuning in. Till next time, bye.